to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, Mga Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus here in the ABC studio.
Hello, I'm Esther Adana for ABC Thailand Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines, President Duterte lashed out on critics, saying the national government was not doing enough in its coronavirus disease response, urging the public not to believe in their statements.
A plaque installed by activists in Bangkok declaring that Thailand belongs to the people has already been removed after it was installed on Sunday during a protest calling for the royal family to stay out of the kingdom politics.
Smart and sustainable urbanization in ASEAN cities. President Duterte on Monday night lashed out on critics, saying the national government was not doing enough in its coronavirus disease 2019 response, urging the public not to believe in their statements. He also fired back at Vice President Leni Robredo, who earlier said there is a lack in the system and comprehensive plan in the government's COVID-19 response. Let's listen in.
You might be hearing of critics and yung walang magawa that we are not doing enough. Ano mang enough na gusto ninyo? May ospital, may kama, at may punerarya. Nandyan lahat. Ano pa man ang gusto ninyo? The microbes, the virus is flying around. That is why you still have to wear the mask. Hindi lang yan, kasi hindi kami maintindihan. You still have to wear the mask, pati yung sa ilong, pati sa mukha. Or something enough to cover your face. But yung plastic na ginagamit ng karamihan ngayon, yun ang pinaka tama na magawa ninyo. Huwag kayong maniwala dyan mga itong dilawan. Lalo na, I hate to mention her name, but to si Leni, kung ano man mong pinagsasabi, alam mo, Leni, kung gusto mo, if you really want to do away with the COVID, isprehan natin itong Pilipinas o Manila ng pesticide galing sa aeroplano para patay lahat. You cannot exterminate the COVID by itong ano lang ngayon. And just the only thing that we can do really is to wear your mask, wear your face mask, and that's it, and wait for the vaccine. It's COVID-19 equals vaccine. Huwag na ninyong palakihin ang problema. Do not add something to the pandemic by making such reckless statements as we are not doing enough.
President Duterte appealed to healthcare workers not exempted from the deployment ban to stay in the country a bit longer and serve fellow Filipinos, assuring them that the COVID-19 pandemic would come to pass. He earlier allowed healthcare workers with perfected contracts as of August 31 to work overseas. All right, joining us live now from Cambodia is Meldy Mahinay. Meldy, there is an outbreak of influenza in your country. Please tell us more about this, Meldy.
Hi, Alma. Good afternoon. Here is
Afternoon.
the latest update. Ministry of Health announced on Saturday that 575 people have tested positive for influenza A across 8 provinces. The influenza A outbreaks have been places where there are large gatherings of people such as pagodas and in prisons. The ministry is encouraging people to keep good hygiene to prevent the spread of both influenza A and COVID-19. Minister of Health said
All right, we're having a technical problem. We'll take a short break. ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
You want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the University President, and Professor Anita P. Santos, Director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Christina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@neu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@neu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
What's up? This is Joshua Zamora of The Maneuvers. At kung excited na kayo na maka-witness ng mga world-class dance talent, ito na ang pinakahihintay ninyo. Kaya huwag nyo kami kalimutan sa mas pinalaki, mas pinalawak na talent search on Philippine Television, Tagisan ng Galing, Part 2, dito lang sa Net 25.
No me gusta ese chico. I don't like him. Nosotros tenemos sangre royal. Ako, si Gladys Morales. Yo soy la mamá de Angie.
Yes, ma'am. Nandito na po. Dala ko na po yung makeup kit, face mask, face shield. Eh, ma'am, baka gusto mo rin bumili ng ganisa. Murang-mura lang.
Hello! Ako si Angeline Morales. You can call me Angie for short. Umorder na kayo!
Makigulo!
Makitawa! At makipagkantahan kasama natin ang ating mga OFW dito lang sa
Saya!
kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray. Pray for everyone. Pray for everything that is going on right now. Especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
At lagi tayong manalangin dahil yun po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
Mga kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray. Pray for everyone. Pray for everything that is going on right now. Especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
At lagi tayong manalangin dahil yun po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Malalayong lugar ang kanilang narating para maghanap buhay. Tulungan ang pamilyang iniwan sa sariling bayan. Yan ang ating mga overseas Filipino worker.
Pero dahil sa di pangkaraniwang pangyayaring hatid ay krisis, may ilan sa kanilang nagpasyang umuwi. Pinagyaman ang sariling lupain, nagtayo ng negosyo na kasama sa puhunan ang sipag at tiyaga. Ang mga OFW, maraming sakripisyo, ninanais maging kapaki-pakinabang maging sa kanilang pagbabalik bansa. Sapagkat ang ating mga bagong bayani, Pilipino pa rin sa puso at damdamin.
International travelers on commercial flights to pay $63 for compulsory coronavirus requirements. Let's find out more from Eliana Faith Sebastian, joining us live from Vietnam. Hi, Eliana.
Hello, Esther. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, Eliana.
Thank you. Here's an update from VN Express International. Foreigners need to pay at least $63 for COVID-19 tests. Foreigners coming to Vietnam on commercial flights would have to pay approximately 1.468 million Vietnam dong, equivalent to $63 for 2 mandatory COVID-19 tests. And they must also register contacts and quarantine details. According to the Health Ministry, since the commercial flights have been permitted mid-September to and from certain countries and territories, those entering Vietnam for more than 14 days should be tested for COVID-19 twice, with the use of the real-time reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, or the RT-PCR, that costs $31.53 each. In addition to this, arrivals need to pay $10.22 for using the rapid test kits. Foreign nationals and Vietnamese returning from abroad are required to pay a minimum of $5.16 a day for quarantine at government facilities under a decision approved last week. Hotels and resorts in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, designated as quarantine facilities, charges a room from a range of 1.2 to 5 million Vietnam dong per night. In line with this, the Ministry of Health has released the latest guidelines for medical surveillance of arrivals to Vietnam. The arrivals include diplomatic and official passport holders, investors, high-tech workers, business managers, international students, and family members of Vietnamese citizens. Prior to their entry, they should register if they wish to stay at hotels or other accommodations selected by provincial or municipal people's committees. Inbound travelers shall be required to have a certificate of a negative COVID-19 RT-PCR test issued within 3 to 5 days before their entry. Upon arrival, they are requested to show the certificate of a negative COVID-19 RT-PCR test, shall receive a temperature screening, and also undergo a quick COVID-19 test at the port of entry. They will then be taken to a quarantine facility as they have registered before departure. During their stay at quarantine facility, inbound travelers shall undergo COVID-19 RT-PCR test. Those who are tested positive for the virus shall be taken to a medical establishment for concentrated quarantine and treatment. All of them shall receive the second test on the 6th day since the date of entry or immediately after displaying any suspected signs. As the COVID-19 pandemic has been brought under control, the Vietnamese government has recently approved the resumption of 6 commercial air routes to Guangzhou, China, Taiwan, Seoul, Korea, and Tokyo, Japan from September 15, and to Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and Vientiane, Laos from September 22. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Eliana, for your updates. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Esther. Reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam. This is Eliana Faith Sebastian. We live in interesting times.
All right, now to Cambodia. Joining us live from Cambodia is Meldy Mahinay. Meldy, there is an outbreak of influenza A in your country. Tell us more about this, Meldy.
Hi, Alma.
Hi, Meldy.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Here is the latest update. The Ministry of Health announced on Saturday that 575 people have tested positive for influenza A across 8 provinces. The influenza A outbreaks have been in places where there are large gatherings of people such as at pagodas and in prisons. The ministry is encouraging the people to keep good hygiene to prevent the spread of both influenza A and COVID-19. Minister of Health Mam Bong-Heng said the ministry noticed cases of influenza contracted in pagodas such as in Takeo, Tubong Kumun, Battambang provinces. The flu has affected a lot of monks and Buddhists who have suffered with temperature of more than 37.5 degrees Celsius, coughing and runny noses. Director of Bantay Menchay Provincial Health Department, Le Chang Sabat said 26 monks tested positive for influenza A on September 16. Bunheng has appealed to monks across the country to keep good hygiene, clean their hands often, keep 1.5 meters apart, and wear masks in pagodas. The ministry said that 100% of the influenza A patients have recovered in 7 of the provinces. In Kampong Tom province, 15% have recovered, while the rest are still receiving treatment. The ministry announced yesterday Cambodia's success in preventing the spread of COVID-19 during the 15 days of Chumben Festival. The statement said they have been collaborating with health networks across the country to give guidance and monitor the risk during the Chumben Festival. This has been another successful holiday following the rearranged Khmer New Year, which also saw no spread of the virus. Bunheng thanked authorities and all relevant departments across the country for their efforts in providing health services to the people. Ministry of Health spokeswoman Orban Din said, Cambodia is a member of International Vaccine Alliance and it's waiting for an official announcement on any vaccine who can be used via the alliance or the WHO. Bandin said, instead of waiting for a COVID-19 vaccine, people must continue to implement the government health measures daily. World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said last month that 172 countries are now engaging with the COVAX Global Vaccine Facility, which has the largest and the most diverse COVID-19 vaccine portfolio in the world. At present, there are 9 vaccines being reviewed. China and Russia have both recently approved the vaccine. China has approved the CanSino Bio vaccine, and Russia has approved the Chinese vaccine, as well as its own created at the Gamaleya Research Institute of Russia. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Meldy, for your updates. Thank you.
Okay, Alma, same to you. This is Meldy Mahinay, reporting live from Chom Chau, Cambodia. We live in interesting times.
6th cluster of coronavirus disease resurfaces in Sabah. From Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, here's Gail Aldas for the report. Hi, Gail.
Hello, Esther. Here is the latest update. Another COVID-19 cluster has surfaced in Sabah, making it the 6th cluster in the state. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said this latest cluster, named the Quarters Cluster, was found in Tongod, Sandakan. So far, 5 positive cases have been reported from it following screening done in the district. Dr. Nur Hisham said that on September 4, a health worker from Tongod tested positive during a RTK antigen screening. The health worker was screened upon referral to the hospital. However, the confirmation test through the RT-PCR screening proved negative. The screening done around the Tongod district that started on September 6 involved the local community, including the staff at the local health clinic. Dr. Nur Hisham explained that all of the positive cases number 10,253 to 10,257 in the cluster were Malaysians who were asymptomatic and were admitted to the Duchess of Kent Hospital in Sandakan for treatment. So far, 117 individuals have been screened involving this cluster, with 112 of them awaiting the test results, while the index case is still being traced. He added that prevention measures including disinfection and cleaning have been undertaken at the Tongod Health Clinic, and all patients having appointments there have been referred to the nearest health clinic. The health services at the Tongod Health Clinic will resume when the disinfection and cleaning activities have been completed. On developments involving clusters in Sabah, Dr. Nur Hisham said of the 57 new cases reported yesterday, 14 were from the Pulau cluster, bringing the cumulative cases there to 29, 26 Malaysians and 3 Filipinos. He said to date, 451 individuals have been screened, involving 371 in Kunak, including the 14 new cases there and 80 in Semporna. As for the Salamat cluster, he said that 12 new cases were reported yesterday, bringing the tally of positive cases there to 19, with 215 individuals screened so far. Dr. Nur Hisham said 5 new cases were reported from the Benteng Lahad Datu cluster yesterday, bringing the total positive cases there to 583 after 9,610 people were screened. Finally, Dr. Nur Hisham concluded with the Sungai cluster, which involves the states of Penang, Kedah, and Perlis. Only 1 new case was reported in Kedah, bringing cumulative positive cases involving this cluster to 74 cases, with 24,699 people screened as of noon yesterday. That is all. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you for all your updates, Dale. Always keep safe.
Thank you, Esther. Reporting live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, this is Gail Aldos. We live in interesting times.
To Thailand now, where police are vowing to press charges against the leaders who staged a monarchy-reforming rally over the weekend. Some 30,000 demonstrators turned out over the weekend. Now, that is the largest show of force since the near-daily student-led rallies began 2 months ago. Joining us live from Thailand, here's Cristel Mapa. Cristel.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Alma, and good afternoon to all our viewers. Yes, according to Bangkok Post, an accusation of lèse majesty and the installation of pro-democracy plaque at Sanam Luang, or royal ground, and the symbolic renaming of it as Sanam Ratsadon, or People's Ground, are police complaints that have been filed against student protest leaders, which is according to the Assistant Commissioner of the National Police Force. The leader of the so-called multicolored shirts movement filed the lèse majesty complaint, said the protest leaders had once again crossed the line. A police lieutenant said that they will take the strongest legal actions possible against the protesters and their backers for undermining the monarchy, in which he also added that several protesters have already been charged on both counts. Around 10 protesters will be charged for violating the Public Assembly Act, as well as several sections of the Criminal Code, while up to 4 protest leaders will be charged with lèse majesty, according to the police. The deputy police spokesman said investigators are considering to revoke the bail of some of protest leaders as they violated their bail conditions by attending the rally. The Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, or BMA, and the Fine Arts Department also filed complaints against the rally leaders for breaking into Thammasat University grounds and Sanam Luang. The director of the Office of Archaeology of Fine Arts Department, Sataporn Tiang Tham, accused the protesters of violating the Ancient Monuments, Antiques, Objects of Art, and National Museums Act, as Sanam Luang is a historical site protected by law. Meanwhile, Parit Penguin Chiwarak, one of the protest leaders, downplayed the removal of the plaque, saying the movement will simply recast and distribute similar plaques to be planted at public places across the city. The protesters are planning to hold another rally this coming Thursday, Alma, in the Parliament building, and on October 14. They are urging the public to take off work to participate as a sign of defiance against the government. Back to you, Alma.
All right, so when are the rallies again? This Thursday?
Yes, this Thursday and on October 14.
Okay, so we'll be waiting for more updates there in Thailand on these developing story. Thank you very much, Cristel.
Thank you, Alma. Reporting live from Thailand, this is Cristel Mapa. We live in interesting times.
All right, staying in Thailand, let's get Faye Barte joining us live from Bangkok. Faye?
Good afternoon, Alma, and good afternoon to all the viewers. The report that I'm going to add today is about the tourists here in Thailand. According to the deputy spokesman of the Immigration Bureau, more than 150,000 foreign nationals need to have their tourist visas renewed by September 27, or else they will face a charge of overstaying. This information is from the Bangkok Post and warned by Mr. Pakpong Sai Ubol, the deputy spokesman of the Immigration Bureau. Overstaying tourist visa. The tourist visa is punishable by both a jail term and fine under the Immigration Act, he added. And adding offenders would also be deported to their countries of origin. In Alma, according to PR Thai government, the permission date of all visa types will start counting from September 27, 2020. The Immigration Bureau has urged foreigners to renew their visas before the end of an exemption currently in place. They also give information that to those who cannot leave here in Thailand, either due to flight unavailability or the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, would need certification from their embassy or consulate to be submitted to a local immigration office. So Alma, for instance, there are lots of Filipinos here who are stranded here in Thailand. Before they need to go to the local immigration to have their visa extension, they need to go to the Philippine embassy to get a letter for them to have extension of visa. Alma?
So did I get this right? They have to have their tourist visas renewed or they face jail time for overstaying?
Yes, Alma, you are correct. You got it correctly. Because the government here, the immigration, gave information that they are only allowed to stay here in Thailand up to September 27. So before the September 27, that would be September 26, up to September 26, they need to have the proper extension and the proper documents for them to legally stay here and not face the overstaying here.
So the blacklist extends to a lifetime if the overstaying period exceeds 10 years. Okay.
Yes, Alma.
So, wow, that's tough. Thank you very much for your update. I'm glad you were able to report today. Thank you for all that information.
Thank you, Alma. Reporting live from Thailand Bureau, this is Faye Barte, and we live in interesting times.
Still in Thailand, a plaque installed by activists in Bangkok declaring that Thailand belongs to the people has already been removed, after it was installed on Sunday during a protest calling for the royal family to stay out of the kingdom's politics. Activists vowed its removal marked only the beginning of their battle to reform the monarchy. The plaque had read, "The people have expressed the intention that his country belongs to the people and not the king." Some 30,000 demonstrators turned over the weekend, the largest show-off since the near-daily student-led rallies began 2 months ago. The largely leaderless youth-organized movement is partly inspired by Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests. The protesters are calling for Prayut's government to be dissolved. They also want a rewrite of the 2017 military scripted constitution and for the authorities to stop harassing political opponents. Some factions within the movement have also called for greater accounting of the palace finances, the abolition of royal defamation laws, and a call for the king to remain outside of politics. Under Section 112 of Thailand's Penal Code, anyone convicted of defaming, insulting, or threatening the king, queen, peer, or regent faces between 3 and 15 years in prison on each count. Authorities have so far refrained from using the law against pro-democracy activists, including accusing them of sedition and breaking coronavirus regulations. Premier Prayut on Monday thanked authorities for their patience over the weekend but warned the nation, religion, and monarchy are respected by everyone. Authorities have arrested more than 24 activists, charging them with sedition before releasing them on bail.
ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back. A stay-at-home order takes effect across Yangon in Myanmar after the country reported hundreds of new COVID-19 cases just weeks before its November elections. As the country scrambles to control the virus, take a look. The Southeast Asian nation of some 55 million had weathered the epidemic relatively well until late August, with case numbers under 400 and just 6 deaths. But in under 4 weeks, infections have steadily spread, jumping to more than 3,000 cases and 32 deaths by Tuesday. The virus hotspots are Yangon, a teeming metropolis of over 7 million, and northwestern Rakhine State, where fighting between the military and armed rebels has forced some 150,000 from their homes, and officials are now scrambling to provide extra health facilities in Yangon, creating 2 tented hospitals with hundreds of extra beds.
Booted from Aung San Suu Kyi's chaotic and autocratic party, one female MP, Pete Kine, is now taking on Myanmar's national heroine in the upcoming election, claiming the country needs to work with, not against, a military accused of genocide. Voters are expected to return Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy, or NLD, party to power at the November 8 polls, only the second since the country emerged from decades of outright military rule, but Pete Kine is still hoping to make her mark.
NLD is no longer the solution for the country. And then the way the party is run is very chaotic, and then it's very autocratic within the party. One person is making all the decisions without consulting any members in the party. She doesn't believe in succession plan, and after her era, beyond her time, NLD will go kind of bankrupt in business term. I don't know how. I think so. Till her last day, she will keep on the power. We will follow the middle way. We are civilian party. We are democratic party, which believes in a federal union, building the federal union. At the same time, we recognize the role of the military in the state building process. The military, maybe they overreact the situation, but it's not genocide or ethnic cleansing, no. They should have maybe 3 generations, 4 generations. They should have citizenship, and then no more discrimination.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
He has undergone many incarnations, from student activist to medical doctor, then businesswoman and jewelry magnate, before being elected as an NLD MP at Suu Kyi's side in 2015. but she has since fallen from grace. Ousted from the NLD last year, she says speaking her mind, the 53-year-old hopes to entice voters to her People's Pioneer Party, or PPP. Thet Keen's family made in wealth in Myanmar's prized ruby industry. Now head of her own party in fiercely patriarchal society, she describes a collective leadership in her relatively youthful PPP, where the average candidate's age is 46. The party promises more jobs, higher wages, and lower taxes, although gives few details about how this would be financed.
President Duterte on Monday evening praised Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu for leading the efforts to rehabilitate Manila Bay. In a taped public address, the president said he was impressed by how Cimatu is able to succeed in yet another challenge to rehabilitate a well-known tourist spot. Let's take a look.
Let us begin by congratulating Secretary Cimatu. You know, I remember that meeting, and I think everybody was there, when I said, Del, kaya mong linisin to? And the answer was a very curtly given, said, kaya, trabaho eh. Now people now are really enjoying the reclaimed area with the white sand, maski na papano.
A portion of the Manila Bay was temporarily reopened to the public over the weekend after crushed dolomite was laid on its shoreline near the U.S. Embassy. The president said he was pleased because people are now enjoying the benefits of the determined action of a cabinet member to do good. He also thanked other cabinet members for helping him run the country. During the reopening, throngs of people flocked to the area to take photos and videos at one point, and the people failed to observe physical distancing along Rojas Boulevard, eventually getting viral on social media. Now, Malacanang said the crowd of visitors which flocked to the segment of Manila Bay shoreline showed that the decision of the government to cover it with white sand was a good decision. But presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, however, reminded law enforcement authorities to strictly enforce quarantine protocols and urged the public to comply.
"64 higher-income economies have joined the COVAX facility, a global initiative that brings together governments and manufacturers to ensure eventual COVID-19 vaccines reach those in greatest need, whoever they are and wherever they live." Speaking to reporters in Geneva today, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, WHO Director General, said that COVAX is in every country's best interest.
The COVAX facility will help to bring the pandemic under control, save lives, accelerate the economic recovery, and ensure that the race for vaccines is a collaboration, not a contest. This is not charity. It's in every country's best interest. We sink or we swim together. The fastest route to ending the pandemic and accelerating the global economic recovery is to ensure some people are vaccinated in all countries, not all people in some countries. We have no guarantee that any single vaccine now in development will work. The more candidates we test, the higher the chance we will have a safe and efficacious vaccine. Almost 200 vaccines for COVID-19 are currently in clinical and preclinical testing. The history of vaccine development tells us that some will fail and some will succeed.
I'm joining Dr. Tedros to answer your question.
Our aim is to have 2 billion doses of vaccine available by the end of 2021. We're encouraged to see a large number of countries signing up to the COVAX facility. But we face some daunting challenges. For the ACT Accelerator to work as planned, it must be funded. So far, $3 billion has been invested. This has resulted in a very successful startup phase, but it's only a tenth of the remaining $35 billion needed for scale-up and impact. $15 billion is needed immediately to maintain momentum and stay on track for our ambitious timelines.
As of today, 64 higher income countries, including 29 economies operating as Team Europe, have submitted legally binding commitments to join the COVAX facility. We expect as many as 38 more countries to join in the coming days, many of whom have already publicly stated their intent to do so. This is critically important as it means that when the funds are deposited, we can begin the process of signing formal agreements with vaccine manufacturers and developers, which are partners in the COVAX effort, to secure the doses needed to end the acute phase of the pandemic by the end of 2021. The COVAX facility is now open for business. These countries, plus those that will join in the coming days, will participate in the facility alongside 92 lower-income countries that will be supported in the procurement of doses. That means that more than 156 economies, representing at least 2/3 of the world's population, will be working together to ensure global access to COVID-19 vaccines through the COVAX facility. From today, we potentially have a truly global solution to a global problem. COVID-19.
Half of ASEAN's population in urban areas and an additional 70 million people are forecast to live in ASEAN cities by 2025. Rapid urbanization has brought challenges such as floods, traffic congestion, and waste problems. One of the regional efforts related to ASEAN connectivity in Vietnam are facing with many challenges in realizing the importance of sustainable urbanization. In the future economic growth of the country, now Vietnamese government set up the urban development strategy. Now Vietnamese government set up the new urban development strategy with the strategic objective of sustainable development, and ASUS so very important as as the guidance, as the reference for us in setting up targets, solution, and priority for sustainable development in Vietnam. And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. Thank you for joining us today here in ASEAN in Focus. This is Esther Adanga from Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Esther, for joining us today and for helping me out. And you stay safe, you stay healthy. Thank you, Esther. Till next time. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.